We'll call the August 14th meeting at highway order. Roll call. We have everyone present. Approval of the July 10th minutes. Motion.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second. You read through them. Motion I made second. Any discussion on the minutes? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comment? Anything? Dustin?
No public comment.
Nothing for me. On to Dustin. Yes.
Okay, we'll start with the commissioner report here. Today's agenda. I won't go through that, but obviously it's in front of you, so try to go through this quicker than on the front end here. Just some highway shop operations. Since Brent's not here, I'll go through the field operations. We're currently in the process, as well as finished a number of paving projects for a lot of the towns. Sand Creek, Sheridan, Hay River, Stanton, and Weston. So we're trying to get all of our paving stuff completed sooner than later. We started mowing operations. We were receiving quite a bit of complaints with how tall the grass was on the shoulder of the roads. Individuals hitting deer. In particular, the northern part of the county is what we were seeing the majority of that. So we actually started mowing operations, started in the north part of the county and working our way south, making one pass.
I would agree with that because there's a lot of deer around.
Yep. Yep, we will agree.
And the grass is growing this year.
Yeah, so like I said, we're just making a one pass, like a 10-foot swath, and that's pretty much it. And then we continue to do our spray patching, common maintenance items. Let Dan do the shop operations.
Well, so far we're just doing the general maintenance on the truck, service, tires, lights, stuff like that. We haven't had any major failures, which is good. And Dustin's got up there, we did receive most of our plow blades for the next winter, or this coming winter, which is good. We have received most, if not all, the equipment for the two new trucks that we're building here in-house. And our mechanic Tony has started working on one of them at this time. Hopefully we'll get him in as soon as we can. We're down one mechanic, of course, right now with the this part departure. Working replacing we'll get somebody in soon, which I hope.
And that has been filled, so the individual did accept it yesterday. So we are looking at filling that September 3rd.
Two more cabin chassis are scheduled to be here in October, which hopefully they will. And they're currently scheduled for December for known in person. But we won't see those probably until February time they're done. So hopefully we can get the two done that we have here to help out. And we need to start working on fall equipment real soon. It's 10 weeks away here in October, so we're going to be seeing snow. I'm planning on next month, September, starting on that. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much everything I've got. We have signed the paperwork on getting the fuel systems in order. The last time I talked to him, we thought about probably be the first part of October. So we'll still get those done.
I've been seeing more and more. We took some cattle down yesterday, and they're out there, getting the inside of the 94 all done, but they had the little green lights in front of the tractors. Do we have that yet? Because some of our trucks are trying to get the green lights. Have we got those yet in front of the tractors that are out there mowing along in?
Currently, no. The tractors have just got the amber lights.
Well, they only had a small one way, but just in front of it, so we had a little bit more to
due to the sheer cost of everything, to retrofit everything green, we're looking at going forward, just replacing the green lights. Not
Oh, okay.
our entire fleet.
Yeah, and we have put a couple on, periodically in different things, trying to get going. But yeah, it's been a lot of lights on all the trucks.
Yes, yes.
You know, to outfit just to re-outfit a plow truck is over $1,000. So it doesn't take long to spend 50,000. If you want.
I think that'd be pretty conservative, this,
Yeah,
Mhm.
you know,
like pick up plow trucks, just 5,000.
yeah, and that's like just refitting our old trucks, which is a matter of just taking the hammers off and replacing it with all ring lights themselves. That's not any new.
That makes sense.
No, that's just putting one on the rear and one on the front.
The
Yeah,
material costs, non-labor and everything.
yeah, right, that's just material, so labor will be on top of that. Yeah, I think the new system, they're around that 5,000 new system.
Yep.
And that's not very many, so they're very, very expensive. But they do a good job. I mean,
Yeah, because that's something I noticed right away going down there. Oh my God, there's a little green light right there. Before you were hardly seen the tractor, I could see that green light pop up, so
One of those things that after a few years, everybody will get used to that, and it'll be
something else.
the next one, but.
Yeah, they do seem a little brighter though, especially in the sunlight, they don't blend in. Like
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
Usually, yeah,
that's great.
and it's going down 13th towards 25, down there. And the city was out painting crosswalks or something, and they had a couple of them down there, and it's just like, ooh, they really jump out
Yeah, I
quite a
noticed
ways away, and they were just popping.
But just one other question, coming down the interstate off the Knapp Hills, you got a station there that must take the wind and everything else there. Is that part of the Dunn County or is that something else or
The DOT,
will they take care of that then?
yeah, that's a weather station with the DOT.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Any other questions or anything? You guys are welcome to call up the shop afterwards if you like, some of the stuff.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
guys have a good day.
You too.
Yeah, and just to add to it, obviously, we did sell some items on the Wisconsin surplus auction. We did sell a triaxle, number 166 for 35,000. So that just gives you a kind of perspective of, what a used plow truck goes for. You spend 300 plus for a new one, but you only get 35,000 roughly in return. After, I believe that those were 2006s.
Over 2006.
When you anticipate, what were you expecting? We were anticipating 35,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably wasn't the best time to sell a plow truck, in the midsummer months. Just with contractors being so busy right now and, the previous truck, the sister truck of this, without the plow equipment actually sold for more. Earlier this year, so that was like 41.
Yeah, right around that 40 mark.
It wasn't much more, but
Yeah, and like Dustin said, timing is a big thing. On any of the stuff we sell, everyone.
But then too, like, in winter, it's not that far off right now compared to only in a couple of months, you could be out there plowing snow.
And we plan on selling all four, but we're gonna keep two, I think Dustin talked to that, they're not moved to the, trying to get these new ones built, be safe and, want to show them, so that's. Yeah, and then we sold a couple of the culverts and stuff that really didn't want to. The stuff really didn't sell that well. I think comparable. Sales pants, so. Yeah. All right, thanks.
thanks, Dan. We'll go into our engineering project updates. Our County Road D project, good news on that. Our change management request for additional funds was approved by the DOT. There's an additional $588,000 that has been allocated to that project. Overall, the project is estimated at about $2.8 million to complete. And the county's on the hook for 20% of that cost, so which comes out to about $560,000 of the $2.8 million project. Which is great news. So we can reduce our budget a little bit. for 2025. The only thing we have to do is we have to, all parties have to fill out or approve the state maintenance agreement, which I have not seen yet, but I did get an email that it has been approved. So that is anticipated for construction, in 2025. County Road B project from 1229 to I-94, the northbound lanes, are complete. Traffic is utilizing the northbound lanes. They have, the contractor has started, work on the southbound lanes, completing the, storm sewer and removal of the existing, asphalt, and concrete, materials. They're looking at probably the end of September, maybe early October for a completion of that, weather permitting. Um, There is gonna be some more staging just with intersections, because we can't shut Walmart distribution intersection down, so it's gotta be done in pieces. So that does take time. So we're anticipating just the main line being done at the end of September, early October, and then probably another month just to do intersections and whatnot, and traffic lights, and finishing the project. The County Road B project north of the interstate, same thing, northbound lanes have been opened. The railroad crossing is officially open, just the northbound lanes. So bi-directional traffic is utilizing the northbound lanes, on that stretch as well. The contractor has not started the work on the southbound lanes yet. They're waiting to complete, the stuff that you see out on the interstate, out by the scale. They're basically building the interstate in the median, do their work, and then shifting it back over. So it's the same contractor doing that work, and once they're done with that, they're gonna start working on this. High priority is the 628th Avenue, which is the town road that goes towards Senex side. Right now, that's basically a one-lane road going in and out, due to, contractor delays on trying to get the concrete in there. But it is usable, it's just inconvenience right now with one lane going in and out. Then the County Road C Bridge, that's the final picture of the structure. It is complete. The road's open. The lines were painted. Everything is completely done on that project. So that was a 80-20 match, so 80% funded by the state and 20% local. Approximately $800,000 project right there, just in the bridge itself. And the last not least, I guess, is the County Road Z project. We are currently, the road is pulverized. We did all of our work to widen culvert replacements. We did do some structural drainage improvements at the intersection of County Road Z and D, right in O'Galley. We didn't want to raise the profile of the roadway because the houses are actually lower than road. So we EBS'd a lot of stuff to try to get it adequate base and proper drainage there. We are anticipating, I believe they're gonna start blading that road probably next week or late this week to start paving it shortly. County Road Double B project, I just wanted to give you an update on that. So Isaac and our intern did some survey work up there to shoot the existing roadway. We looked at determining what's the better option to put an overlay on the roadway. Originally, that's what we had anticipated, was to put a 2-inch overlay. But after the survey work came back, we would actually utilize the same quantities on a 2-inch overlay as if we were to pulverize and repave and pave it with 3 inches. The road was so out of whack, and just, it was, when you have a 45-year-old road, it's not ideal to put an overlay on it. So what we were looking at is we did grind the road. Actually, they're working on it right now. We are going to be paving it with 3 inches of asphalt. And that has LRIP funds on it, where the state will be paying for half of the asphalt quantities. As you can see, life expectancy with an overlay, 8 to 10 years. To a pulverize and repave, it's 20 to 25. So why not invest in it and do it properly? It was our take on it. We did save some money on some additional other projects prior to this. The only additional cost outside of the original overlay is the pulverizing, which is approximately $20,000 to do. But our County Road H project south of Rock Falls, we saved approximately $100,000 just on that, what was estimated, so.
So when you use that 20 to 25 years, is that specific to that road or you're just saying in general?
In general,
So on a road like that, that doesn't get a lot of heavy traffic. does it?
yeah, it could be 30 years, we don't know.
Sure.
In general, 20 to 25.
Yeah,
is
but I was saying like that one, it's
yeah.
like, yeah, that thing will extend that quite a bit, I would think.
So how did you save the money on Highway H south of Rock Falls there?
So there was improvements, so we utilized less quantities, we were more efficient with our staff. We anticipated maybe more labor hours and it only took maybe a less day or so.
Okay,
So we did make improvements there. And like I said, the state's gonna pay 50% of the asphalt, so it's like, it's a no-brainer to do that. Colfax, shop salt shed, so that is up, completed, as you can see. That is 1,000-ton capacity salt shed. We did not put a door on it. The unfortunate thing is any maintenance costs are in that door. With salt, trying to get a door up and down and all kinds of stuff, it's a nightmare, so we elected to not put a door on it. Yes, we will get debris, we will get rain, we will get stuff in it. But this is 1,000-ton capacity shed and we'll look at just keeping the materials back as far as we can. And there will be asphalt paving inside the shed as well as all the way around it. Isaac's been working on getting some grades calculated and trying to get that completed.
What was the price tag on that?
Just the shed itself, right there was about 180,000. That's their cost in assembling that shed. It's 40 by 60, roughly.
Yeah, yep.
40 feet wide, 60 feet long. That is 100% funded by the state.
Do you want me to sew you some curtains with my sewing machine?
If they can withstand 140-mile-an-hour winds, sure. This
Well,
is it.
if they blow up, so let's make some new ones.
Exactly.
So I did ask the contractor, so the life expectancy of that tarp is 20 years. Similar to your asphalt shingles. Right now, the cost to replace that tarp is about $35,000. So if going into my long-term plan for our facilities, you'll see in the next 20 years, I think I put budgeted 45,000, not knowing what the cost
There's
is
a
going
good
to be.
chance of making.
Oh, absolutely. I know the town of Menominee, or not town of Menominee, town of Red Cedar has one. And I don't think they've replaced their tarp over 25 years.
So what company is that from?
So Greystone Management, out of the cities installed this. You can see they have a different design. So the one in O'Galley, the tarp is actually fixed to those concrete panels. This has the actual piers that are embedded in the ground. So I personally like this better than the other, because if you start pushing on those T panels is what we call them, you're affecting the whole structure. Where here you can move them a little bit and you're not affecting your structure. Like I said, I think budgetary wise, there's 280,000, so we still have a lot of paving to do on it. Dirt work right now, like I said, just the material here was like about 180,000.
All right.
Just to give you an update on the ARIP. So I'm sure some of you agricultural improvement programs, so the DOT has allocated $150 million to improving local roadways, to support agricultural and commodities. And commodities like logging operations, just in general, stuff like that. The whole goal is to remove weight restrictions on these roadways. Either class B restrictions, which are typically half loads, and removing seasonal weight restrictions. So the first round took place earlier this year. We did not elect to apply for a project in the first round. But the second round applications just came out, I believe, last week, or 2 weeks ago, to start the process to apply for an additional $100 million. So the first round was 50, and then the second round is going to be 100 million. We all, to you and I, that's a lot of money, but when it comes to road building, that doesn't go very far in the
Not the whole state, does it?
No. So the first round, I believe there was 36 projects that were awarded, and two counties got awarded, Pepin and I believe Lincoln. And then the other ones were on the town level. We are currently working on an estimate and trying to get some applications submitted for it, not guaranteed. So we're looking at probably County Road K, north of 72, the D, and then County Road D from 72 south all the way to through O'Galley is what we're looking at. Biggest thing is obviously you got to pick an application or a road that serves agricultural and these commodities, and O'Galley's a prime example for one. I mean, obviously you got Denmark there, you got a lot of them up at Colfax as well.
Mhm.
It's just, you got to pick one. So, that's what we've elected to do right now, to help offset the cost. This is up to 90% funded.
So how far do those roads go? Do they go 3-4 miles, or can you go 8-10 miles? What is the length?
You can go as long as you want. The problem is the 100 million, you can do 10 million or 10 miles of road at usually $1 million a mile.
Yeah,
So I think a lot of the bigger the project, the least likely you're probably gonna get it. So we're trying to condense it as much as we can. So I don't know if you had anything to add, Isaac, with that or anything, or
No, just, yeah, those were, a lot of egg down there and, they're weight restricted currently, so that's.
Yep.
That's why we can apply for those roads.
yeah, and to put it in perspective, I would say half of our infrastructure is seasonal weight restricted. So. Any questions before we move on to the highway building long-term plan?
Go ahead, start.
So obviously this was brought up, Cedar Core did a presentation last month. Obviously we came up with a need for space. We have a lack of storage and not, obviously the overall existing building is not laid out very well. They added a few things just with our outlying shops. So obviously I just wanted to go through some of that with you. A lot of this stuff is going to be presented to the facilities committee. I believe today, later this evening. Regarding our facilities in Dunn County. Including highways. So I just wanted to give you guys obviously update just the highway facilities. So obviously last month we came up with 3 options. An option for literally 1A is a 36,000 square foot building just to meet the needs of the current operations that we have, just to get most of the equipment under a roof. Option 1B was we'd have that plus a little bit more expansion in the future. And then 1C is to basically build a whole new storage barn facility to house all of our equipment, as well as basically remodel this existing building. So worst case scenario versus all the way to the least costly, let's just say. Obviously, they put a dollar amount allocated to each one of these options. We're looking at as low as, just say, roughly $6 million, the 5.68 million, including your engineering design costs for a pre-engineered building, all the way up to 14.5 million or 16 million for a precast with a remodel and building a whole new storage. So large dollar amounts, not only just the needs of the main building here. We have 5 outlying satellite shops. They did kind of a analysis of that based on investing in our current structure versus replacing our outlying satellite shops. As you can see, a lot of this is kind of just theoretical numbers right now based on 2024 costs and trying to project them out 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. This is very, very difficult to see. It is in your packet as well. I broke out in a little bit different form. But it's your typical common repairs, such as on the outlying shops, replacing garage doors, replacing service doors, repaving your parking lots, fixing the steel, re-roofing, adding more lighting, replacing HVAC systems, all that stuff. We can either do it or we don't do it at all. I mean, right now we have not invested $1 into our outlying shops. And when I say investing, like your common stuff, like changing light bulbs and whatnot, like that is what we've invested in these buildings. Or if there's any damages, like we do have walls that miraculously hit the doors and we have to replace the door panels. It does happen.
So it's the north shop that went up by 64.
Yeah, so the north shop's at 25 and 64. The Colfax shop is on 170 by N. And then Boyceville's right in Boyceville, right across from the gas station there. And then Old Galley's down on County Road Y, east or west of 25. And then Rock Falls is down in Rock Falls.
So how far does O'Galley back those? Like those shops, how far are they?
Okay, it's quite a ways. It's just the inconvenience is you gotta go all the way through Durand. Or you have to come up through Downsville, C, down to H. The Chippewa River is what gets us. Yeah. It's that whole Rock Falls area is just like an island. So,
But when you got all these, like your different things here, how much of the old shop could a guy actually switch around so you have more room to put stuff? Right now, it's kind of a small area. You know, like out in the shop, well,
So-
if you had more room to get things in and out.
So with the remodel of this existing building, so it would require basically, what the envision is to basically take where our mechanics are basically right now.
Yep.
And move them where our storage of our trucks are. To get them away from the office space here and all that and
Okay.
add a conference room back there, so where the mechanics are right now, there'd still be some parking here for like pickup trucks. You'd have office space. They kind of showed a preliminary design if we were to look at doing a remodel.
Yeah,
In your packet, I didn't,
that's okay. I just kind of curious if there was a way you could kind of like you still use the old building as much as
Yes.
possible and still
So
Yeah, room.
the envision would be to have an addition for just storing equipment and your whatever, plow equipment and whatnot. And then this existing building would be basically utilized for shop purposes. So that's where, like I was saying, is they've estimated about $4.7 million to just do a remodel of this existing building. And then to add another building, depending on what style, what size, that's where it can vary from 6 million all the way up to 14 million. Depends on what options to look at.
So then you're taking this, your figures down to the, this afternoon for the county to at least look
Yeah,
at
we're-
it, have an idea of what's going on.
In general, obviously the county, we're trying to give the board an understanding of what's out there. And obviously there's costs associated with to maintain these assets. So that's what we're looking at trying to do just here on highway is to look at a long-term plan. Nothing lasts forever. We know that.
Yeah.
So if we have to replace the HVAC system at the Boyceville shop, when is it gonna be?
Okay,
5 years, 10 years, 20 years? We don't know. And then what they've looked at is the cost to invest some of this versus the cost to replace. I'm not saying to go in here and replace all of our outline shops. That's
no,
definitely not what I'm saying.
So this is basically saying, in the next 1 to 5 years, you'll have to put $150,000 in the Colfax
Yes.
facility. In 10 years, 5 to 10 years, you'd have to put 350. If you didn't do this, you'd have to do this or these two together. Yeah, because it adds up to this.
Yes.
So you need 150 in 5 years, 350 in 10 years, 500,000 in, or more than 10 years, comes to $1 million. And for that $1 million, you'd get 20 years. Is that
Yes.
the idea? And then this comes out to this cost. And if you just tore it all down and started over, you'd spend this much with 50 years of life expectancy. Okay. And
Like I said, well, I'm not envisioning to go tear 5 outlying shops down and rebuild them. That's not the intent, but they want to just basically show you how much maintenance costs are in this existing building versus
Right.
a whole brand new building.
so this piece is a piece of a much larger 52-page plan that Dan's been working on, that basically does this for the entire county. Shows you the buildings, when they were built, what they need, and then kind of lays out, just routine maintenance to them, what that might look like. So, but Dustin and, Dan worked together on this to do the highway part of it so that you get that snapshot, but facilities tonight will get the whole shebang.
We're gonna go we're going line by line.
There's a lot of pictures in the 52 page.
Okay, it's okay, thanks.
So, but I don't recall if I have that in my slideshow. I don't have that, but I just wanted to give you a perspective of what our existing facilities are. So obviously, this building we're in right now is 40 years old. Our Rock Falls building is, I think it's 51. It's 100. Jesus, I can't recall what it is. It's our oldest building. I had it in the program table, for God's sakes. I had it in here somewhere. Yeah, it's in the packet. I just don't have it. Slideshow. So yeah, this building was built in 1984. Our north shop was built in 2002.
You can say that one,
That's our newest building is the what we consider our north shop. Our Boyceville shop was built in 65. The old one. Rock Falls was in 1951. And then O'Galley was in 1990, Colfax was 1974. And like I have said, we have not invested $1 into these to make
Well,
improvements.
according to that, you're better off not to invest and just build new.
Correct.
Well, I mean,
In these,
Sharp
these,
math.
these are literally if you would take contracted numbers. So if we were to hire a contractor to say, hey, we are going to remodel the interior, replace all the steel, re-roof, that's what this cost would be.
Yeah.
That's not to say we can't do some of this internally ourselves. I mean, if we have to add lighting to a facility, I think we can do that with our own staff or facilities help. Paving
one
a
of
new
them,
driveway.
one of them I looked at was like 30,000 to replace lighting, and I'm like, well, you have to be doing the wiring and everything for that.
Yeah, like I said, this is an engineering firm that's basically saying, if you hire a contractor to come in and do this, this is what it would be.
Yeah.
Um,
How long did you say O'Galley's been there?
51, you should say.
no, Galley was 1970, 1990.
Oh,
I'm gonna say that one was fairly decent.
Yeah, and a lot of them is, we are seeing issues with the roofs. O'Galley does leak. It's a steel roof. I mean, to literally go up there and recaulk some of the stuff, that's all it needs for now. So that's what I'm saying is a lot of these numbers, a roof replacement, maybe $100,000, an estimate here, but maybe we only have to invest $10 or something. I don't. But we're just trying to just to give you an understanding what's out there. I mean, I don't think a lot of the board members in general know what's out there.
Well, no. Speaking of that, I was actually wondering, when would I be able to go around and look at these buildings?
Every time you want,
Like,
except for Saturdays and Sundays.
If you can find them.
can I go find the buildings?
Yeah.
I know where they.
I've been to every one of them. I just haven't looked, I haven't looked inside a Boyceville and looked around. I'm sure I see it. I mean, I did a tree right next to Rock Falls. I mean, I know what that one looks like and O'Galley and stuff. So I'm wondering what about combining some of them or
So
leaving some out?
originally what Cedar had presented was to potentially is to combine the Boyceville, North Shop and Colfax shops all in one and maybe building it in Wheeler at 25 and 170 and branch out from there. As a possibility. They do have that in here. I believe that's what the combined North Shop is, that 3.5 million. If we were to literally take all those buildings and build one big one, I believe 20,000 square foot is what they had originally designed, theoretically 3.5. The thing is we obviously have investments in our current infrastructure. We have salt sheds. We literally just built a salt shed in Colfax. That's not to say that tear down, but that is an option. Like I said, there's all kinds of options. We can do nothing, we can invest, build new, build one big shop.
Well, I'd like to see how bad they are. And it's like, well, hey, can we live by, can we fix the roof? Can we do this? Get by and say, hey, we're planning to build a new one in 10 years. Work towards that plan rather than, all right, now we build a salt shed here and it's like, well, Boyceville needs a salt shed. All right, well, we put one up there. It's like, well, let's have them go up to the North Shop and get salt for a while or whatever the case may be. And then, figure we're gonna slowly as they're to the end of their life, rather than put a lot of money in it, say, hey, we need a little bit of new lighting. Okay. We'll spend $3,000 on some new lights, put that up, fix the roof. Don't put an HVAC system in it and then phase that one out, even if we didn't totally build a new one. Can they run out of the other two shops, or is that asking too much to run over to Downing and stuff?
As of right now, our outline shops are maxed out with what patrol routes come out of those buildings. So North Shop has 5 routes that come out of it. Colfax has 4. Boyceville has 3. O'Galley's got 3 and Rock Falls has 2. So every bay in those shops is utilized by those plow trucks. Okay, so to add to it or just, it wouldn't be feasible to do that. They'd have to come out of here. Would be the only thing.
And you don't have room here
And
either.
then we have to park them outside, but
All right, you don't have room here either.
we don't. So the biggest need, in my opinion, is the useful life of the Rock Falls and the Boyceville shop are, they're used up.
Yep.
I mean, the problem we have is we can't get the trucks in these shops with plow equipment on. Literally, we have to drop the plow equipment outside, drive the truck in, and we still can barely fit that truck in. Obviously, you're looking at 1951 building. Yeah, it's still standing, has no running water. It is one of our most costly buildings because there's no insulation. We've cobbled the insulation, we put some 2-inch polystyrene foam inside of it. And you'll see duct tape everywhere on the inside walls to try to insulate something. It's,
Well, that's why, like, stuff like that, I don't see keep sticking money in it unless it was
yeah,
big enough into either tear down and rebuild or centralize 2 of them. That's what I was wondering, little galleon.
From the Rock Falls.
the centralized stuff is the unfortunate thing is you gotta buy land, you gotta look at stuff like that, you gotta
And right now,
look
we don't
at
have the.
purchasing salt sheds. None of these costs are to build a salt shed. I mean, this is literally just a building. So if you look at building another salt, probably 300,000 on top of it. In today's numbers, I'm not saying about 10 years down the road.
Is there any other interest of going to see the other outside shops? I mean, if you
I
want.
have some interest, but it's gonna have to be in September for me.
I was just wondering about bringing up the facilities too, and see if they want.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Anybody, but I mean.
Be a good idea, bro. Look at it.
It's actually easiest if you like just go with Dustin and go do it.
Okay,
Noticing the meeting
then it's harder.
is difficult.
Okay,
There's like a,
asking.
Just because of the law, like when you did it when you did the highway tour,
Mhm.
technically you're not allowed to talk on the bus and then you have to say at 10:10, we're gonna be at this shop for anybody in the public to be able to attend.
Okay.
So if you stay away from a quorum
Yeah.
and going out and doing that, then
Okay,
life becomes easy. It's not that it can't be done,
so 2 of us can do it,
but
just not 3.
so.
One at a time.
Yeah,
Two at a time. 2 at a time.
well, that's if you drive together.
You gotta be able to gang up on you.
Yeah, no kid.
So,
I want to be.
well, that was like the other thing is if you each drove or if you drove in small numbers, then you gotta say there's gonna be a highway committee meeting at the Rock Falls shop at this time, and there's gonna be a meeting at this time, and there's gonna be a meeting. That's essentially how you have to notice it.
Okay.
So it's,
I get
It gets
the rules and stuff, but to me, it's not a meeting, it's just it's just.
Observations.
Yeah, but you guys could plot a coup
Yes, we could.
during that meeting, and that's the issue.
Yeah, but that happens all the time. I mean, not us, but I mean.
apparently when they wrote the Constitution, it
So I just want to reiterate that to the best of Dan and my knowledge, the county has never or doesn't have a long-range facilities plan, which was the point of setting out to sort of look at that. And the other point was we didn't want to come to the county board 2025 and say we need $5 million to do this. And knowing that a year later, we need 4 million to do something else, that you can look at it. The numbers are kind of plugged, best, throw a spitball, but kind of plugged, just an idea, but really to look at over the next 10 years. What does the county need to consider doing? And to your point, Dustin, I would say, no, we're gonna kick that can down the road another 1, 3, 5 years or whatever. And we're gonna prioritize this, or we're not gonna do anything. There's all kinds of decisions to be made, but it's really trying to get you a visual of what is coming up.
One no, I definitely like that and I want to plan. I just mean, like, do we kick the can down the road in the hopes of, or the plans of having it better then, not spending money like, okay, we're gonna end up having 500,000 in 10 years, and then it's like, well, no, we should have just built a new building. It's like, yeah, I do wanna know that, like, hey, can we get by for a couple 100,000 for the next 10 years and plan on just building one then? Or consolidate or something, so, no, this definitely helps, and I don't wanna kick the can down the road per se, in a bad sense, I want.
But we all
To
do
address
that.
it.
I mean, practically, we all do that with our own. If I'm planning on putting a new deck on my house and suddenly a tree falls on my garage, the deck's going by the wayside, I'm fixing my garage, I mean, we all prioritize, oh, I need a new air conditioner. Oh, maybe I'll just wait till this one craps out and then I'll get one, so,
Yeah.
so we all do that at some level. There's no, like, I guess there's no shame in that. It's just really being able to do some planning.
Nice.
Efficiency for me, what's the most efficient way?
Yeah.
If we're spending more money now, fine, I mean, I got a brand new piece of equipment showing up today, when we get done here. Like, there's certain times you have to spend the money, but I've kicked that can down the road for buying that for 2 years.
So the other component, so Dustin shared with you here everything related to highway. And because you're on the highway committee and that's what you're looking at. This is all of the rest of the pages when you take the rest of the county facilities.
And facilities are parks, I mean, rifle ranges, everything. I mean, it's
Right, so
a lot of things that people don't, there's still costs to associated with.
so as you talk about kicking that can or not paying for that, there's another project somewhere else that you just end up throwing together, so. We'll get the rest of this out to the full board too, but it's gonna be facilities.
I mean, it gives you a better understanding, like, this roof was replaced in 2023 or 2022. So long-term, 20 years from now, we're going to have to probably invest in this roof again. So, I mean, just to get that out there and give that understanding of what's out there, so we can plan for the future and not wait till it's leaking one day and we're gonna need a roof now, type of thing. Like it has been done.
Yeah, no, I think planning is key and to kind of see
Well,
that
that's-
time frame out there is what we need to see anyway as county board. I mean, what's gonna happen, what we have and what might be.
I think along the same lines of Dustin's thinking, is, well, look, let's patch what we need to patch for now with a longer term goal, like everybody's talking the same language here, putting that long term goal out there, so when you're gonna have a better chance of knowing when you're gonna spend more money than not.
And a nice thing in what Cedar provided is they're showing this year's costs to complete some of this.
Right.
And what happens if you let it go 10 years, what that cost is
Oh,
gonna be theoretically. So what might be $1 million today might be 1.5 10 years from now.
Well, it's probably gonna.
So, yeah. Well, it's nice to at least see that.
Yeah.
And we all understand it. It's just, what's the cost of it now?
So how much like land does Dunn County actually own, the highway department right here? Excuse me. There's gotta be like,
I want to say it's right around the 40 acres.
okay, so there's plenty of room if you do wanna do something really radical,
Here, yes.
radical.
Sure.
But there's actually.
I love that
room here, right? I mean, there's room right out here if you really need to.
Well, obviously, in general, the county owns everything around here. Highways on whatever's in the fence here is what the county highway department is.
Mhm.
I don't say owns, but
Yeah, I know.
Maintain.
Was allotted.
sure, it's under our name.
The city, it's just like that.
That's the airport to the north, and then everything to the west here is pretty much county owned.
That whole field with the exception of about,
A little
A
5 acre,
little second.
5 acre piece that the city owns.
or CBDC parks or stuff out there, but not by the city.
It's 5 acres, but it's somewhere around there. Yeah, that's what we just wanted to present that. So obviously this is going to be full county board at some point in time, I'm assuming. Presented. And I don't know, but
Not on the 20th.
Not on the.
it's nothing that actions need to be taken or anything like that today. It's just
No, it's good.
trying to give a better understanding of what's out there.
Yeah, which we need.
So
If you did build something here, would you be able to sell that one and down that shop? Any value to that? Like fairgrounds? Fairgrounds.
So we don't utilize it. It's under facilities. So highway doesn't have those buildings anymore.
How you store, not store?
We do. We have all facility stuff, like the sheriff's department store stuff in there. We do the fair, everybody.
But if I was a big enough building here, you wouldn't need that one, would you anymore? You gotta sell that property?
I can't speak on behalf of that. That's
That would be.
Outside of
facilities.
How big a property is that? A couple acres or?
Cause the fair uses it, quite a bit there. put
they,
stuff
they,
in
they
there.
utilize it 1 week out of the year.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just storage of. Storage.
I'm sure that the, ceilings aren't that
Miscellaneous.
tall, anyhow,
Yeah.
to put stuff in there.
And I know facilities has a hard time keeping the windows in it because kids like to break the windows, throw rocks at it, so they are replacing that quite often.
I noticed that the other day when I drove by, it, there's a bunch punched out on the closest to Main Street there, all right.
Yeah. Like I
But yeah,
said,
you still gotta keep this like in front of the, county board too. Something's gonna happen sometime. So they don't come up all of a sudden, well, we're all different.
and that's our intent.
All right,
That's only why. And
does that, as part of that?
no, yeah, so then we'll go into the other parts of my agenda here.
Yeah.
Just give you an update on our SS4A grant. So that's our Safe Streets for All grant. That us, St. Croix and Eau Claire County received grant to put a safety plan together. To try to come up with where our issues are in the county, so we can apply for additional funds to have some basis and information to provide to try to get federal grants, state grants, whatever. So SRF Consultants is the engineering firm that's doing this work. They were at the fair, myself included. We had a little booth set up on Friday afternoon from 3 to 6. I was one day in the hockey building. We had 85 individuals that basically addressed their concerns. There was a list of questions that were asked. I think there was 5 or 6 questions on what is your big concern in Dunn County with traffic? Is it distracted driving, alcohol impaired driving? The unanimous was aggressive driving and distracted driving and alcohol impaired. That was the biggest concern with individuals driving on Dunn County roads. So they took that information and compiled it, and then now they're looking at getting other community support and input through wiki maps. So it's show you. So it's a map like this that anybody has access to. So you can basically pinpoint intersection, you can pinpoint a road and just say it's complete garbage, or this intersection's unsafe, visibility, anything in the county. We have posted this to Facebook, we've posted it to our internal employees at Dunn County. As you can see, it was on Channel 13 news last night. I don't know if it was on the actual televised news or if it was in, I know it's on the app, I can tell you that.
I think it was my father-in-law saw it, so.
So we're getting this being known that it's out there and we want community support. So like I said, we can take this information, SRF is gonna compile all of it, and they're gonna show us the most problematic areas in Dunn County that need addressing to improve safety. As you can see, majority of the stuff is right around the city of Menominee. We would expect that.
So how do you get to that? Gotta go.
You can either go on our Dunn County Facebook, there's a link to it. Or you can go to Channel 13's website and there's a link to it.
Okay.
Or you can go on our Dunn County website. I think Christie even posted it on there.
Okay.
So,
WQ.
so all three counties are doing it. St. Croix got ahead of the ball game. They posted this a couple weeks ago, so they were ahead of us. But like I said, this is blowing up. I mean, this is 2 days worth of data here. I believe if you look today, there's probably double that. With communities input. But like I said, it's a good way of just getting the individuals that drive these roads on a daily basis and see what their concerns are.
Right.
And hopefully, like I said, hopefully we can address some of this. I'm not gonna say we can address all of it, because it comes with a cost to improve an intersection, put a roundabout in, you got $1 million invested right in the roundabout, so.
Is it mostly just for school or not necessarily?
No, this is for everything.
Oh, everything, okay. I
Yeah,
wasn't-
pedestrian safety, driver safety, agricultural, anything. Anything in the sun. Like I said, it's a good tool.
So is it only for your use, like, was that, use that at all?
No. And we're looking at concentrating on our county system only. So yes, this data is in the city. City wants to take some of the data, that's fine, but we aren't addressing that need. Any questions before we go any further? So I just wanted to follow up on our discussion that we had with County Road Old E is what we call it, with a possible jurisdictional transfer. So I did meet with the town of Springbrook at their July town board meeting. They are open to the possibility of taking this road over, but they want it done right. As you can see, that road is gone, it's shot, it's done. To throw an overlay on that, it's not done the proper way. So they would require this road to be brought up to their town standards. Their town standards is basically 2.5 inches of asphalt. It would have to be pulverized, repaved, and then there is some drainage issues there. As you can see, that's going towards Elk Lake. It washes that shoulder out constantly. There is a culvert down there and it is completely buried. We found that out the other day, a couple weeks ago. So this area had 4.5 inches of rain about 2 weeks ago, and we found that it has a drainage issue. So we're looking at if we were to pulverize, repave that roadway and do it to their standards, it'd be about $100,000. With that work. As you can see, the road, the county is going to have to invest in this roadway regardless. If we own it, they own it, or we own it, give it to them, or if we redo it and keep it ourselves. Either way, there's gonna have to be some investment.
We plow it now. How long is it?
24, I think it's just under a half a mile,
Just under.
like 24 miles.
It's just a road that kind of swings through this.
Yeah, so literally the town of Springbrook has to drive on this road to get to the other roads to plow.
Gotcha.
And then this turns right and it goes right towards the dam. And then it dead ends, and then the road picks up on the other side where there's a park there.
It's all the.
It's still all old E. Like I said, this is me personally, I would like to pursue investing in this roadway and turning it over to the town. If they're willing to take it on, like I said, we would invest the initial cost regardless. We would just not have to maintain it afterwards. There's always gonna be maintenance costs associated with this.
Yeah, it's a dead end road. I mean,
It serves no purpose for us.
it's
I can tell you
certainly,
that. Unless you wanna go down to the dam and take a look at it, that's about the only thing that.
So we would do everything, right? Everything's in house.
Right now, we have to fix the drain regardless. So we've called in locates to
Got
fix
all the
it.
equipment down there to do that as well.
I'm not saying it has to be done today
no.
or this year. I mean, that's something we can budget for.
And that's all on our part.
This would be 100% county.
So that, $100,000, does that include our wages for like Dunn County Highway? So a lot of it is not really Dunn County itself, but it still is.
So yeah, we obviously allocate all of our employees' labor throughout the entire year, regardless of what they're doing.
I guess where I'm at with it is if you've made the point that it's kind of a useless road for us to keep. I don't mean a useless road to the people that use it. That's not
Yes.
what I mean, but for us to keep in like our,
Let's
Our
just
system.
an inconvenience for
Right.
us.
so it's kind of knowing that we want to get rid of
It's
it.
costing us money to plow it every year. We do
But-
not get much state aid for it.
And I would beg to say, if you asked 10 people, and I bet you all 10 would say that they didn't know the county actually owned that road.
Yeah, I guess where I'm at with, if we're gonna, I know we have to invest in it anyway, okay, but it could be like we talked about earlier, maybe we could push it. If we ended up keeping it, we could be pushed down the road 2 years or whatever budgeted for.
Correct.
But it seems to be a topic that's the ball's already rolling, so. I guess where I'm at personally is if they're willing to take the road over if we fix it the way they want it fixed, pulverize it and repave it, then I think we should, my vote would be to do that.
I agree, because we're gonna have to do a bunch and mess around. It's just an extra headache, so.
And this is the same similar situation as double B. You could throw an overlay on that.
Yeah.
And the quantities are gonna be the same as if we pulverize and repave, because it's so out of whack.
Yeah.
It's shot. So then you gotta start truing everything up. And
Right.
as you can see, it's piecemeal now. There's overlays, there's
Well, not that
it's
there's not,
complete garbage.
the guys don't have something to do every day, but it's like, well. They have to have something to do anyway, so it might as well be on this and get it over with and get it out of the way.
I guess my only other thing is that fixing that washout. No, it's just one trip down there. It's like, let's just go fix the whole thing, be done with it. All at one shot, but.
Looks like the consensus would be.
I guess I'm
forward with it.
on a highway level. I mean, if we have cost savings on a project and we have $100,000 to spend this year, is this something we could look at even doing this year?
I would say yes.
That's
And like I said, I'm not saying it has to be done. I would like to have it actually in
But
the
that's-
budget, say next year or
if
the
they're,
year after.
yeah, and we're like I was saying, if they're willing to take the road over after we fix it. I was a strike by the iron's
I was
hot.
gonna say, they
Yeah.
could change their mind too, so.
Yeah,
It's the maintenance that.
I would think that's,
But doesn't this road take a lot of traffic and go to, like
A
Springbrook?
lot of residential property.
It's a lot of residential.
That's what I mean, but you'd think they'd want to do something and not just say, well, you take it over and then we'll take it from you guys, but.
somewhere down in that area, my son's actually looking at that place.
So the consensus would be yes to go ahead whenever we have the budget money for it.
Yeah, we need a
Yes.
motion. You do need a motion.
I think we need a motion for it, just a
I
consensus.
don't have it as an action.
My,
I just
I
wanted your
support
input
it. I support
and
it.
support.
Support, yeah, yeah, I would say. Yes, if we can get it done when we can.
Sounds good. Just to give you an update, so obviously the West Central Committee Commissioner meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 1st. I know some of you have gone to it. I think Jerry and Gary have gone to it a couple times. So this year it's gonna be in Taylor County, in Medford. So what I will need from you is if you want to attend, it's $30 per person. Obviously, we would have that cost included with each individual. So I would need to know information if you're going to be attending this by prior to September 16th, because I have to have it to Taylor County at that date. I'll send out an email just to remind everybody, but just trying to give you enough heads up that if you're interested in attending, sometimes the Secretary of Transportation will be there, DOT official, and just kind of give you updates on what's happening now, what's happening in the future.
So is Taylor County now, is that like a newer facility? Is that an old facility or?
I don't know for sure. They
Okay,
do not have a new facility that I'm aware of.
No, I just drove by it Sunday, actually. So,
you must get all over.
yeah.
But
Is there any more over? What?
I just wanted to give you that piece of information.
Okay.
So
Well, what I really like is going over to St. Croix County and just see like a brand new facility where they got tons of room to park stuff and just. They must have the money.
They have a little.
the banks have all kinds of.
So that, yeah, not to extend this out, but like, what interest rate roughly, I realize everything's up there, but what interest rate would we be borrowing at?
You're asking the wrong person.
Four,
It's next week.
four-ish,
3.5 to 4.
Yeah, wasn't it like a 0.5%?
yeah.
$200.
All right, I can do it all days.
Put back in the days, yeah. And then I guess just last but not least, this is our highway financials. As you can see, we are anticipating a budget surplus. This is through the end of June, so this is not July. As you can see, we had some pretty good expenses in the month of June at $2.8 million. So that's what asphalt costs.
But
I thought they went down, didn't they? Weren't they supposed to go down or not?
It stayed pretty similar to last year's numbers.
Okay.
Slightly lower. The big chunk of that is the contractor that did our North project, E project.
Okay, yeah.
Their first invoice is $1.4 million. So you're seeing a big chunk out of that. But like I said, we're anticipating a budget surplus, the end of the year.
Well, there goes your budget surplus right there. Talking about highway E. Double E.
Not looking at spending at all. So that concludes my report. This is just the next.
All right, any other questions on this report? Otherwise, move on. Number 7, consideration and actions taken by committee, highway vote. Their motion. Motion accepted, motion. Second.
Second that motion.
All right, any discussion, any questions on any of this? Expenses.
Don't you usually you just go to the big stuff first and you look at the little stuff later?
So I didn't catch that. We made the first motion. Jerry. Gary seconded.
Mm-hmm.
Good, I read them. Oh, there it is. Any questions on any of them? Not second, 70.
Right toward the end.
I know, this is what's that right there, 7A. There's 3 trees here. I know. Okay,
At least it's in black and white. Dan really yelled at me. I would, I'd call it.
no, Dan was here today, so the black. It's okay.
The most, I printed out color.
No kids. I did.
If you guys,
Any other?
want to keep, let me take those back, I'll just print the next month's agenda out.
Opposite side, yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah, any other questions on the vouchers? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 7B, highway budget requests. That's up there.
Okay, good.
Okay, yep. We need a motion.
Motion and second.
Hurry up.
Correct.
Oh, it's all fine except for a really big number.
So this is just our overall, I just put a slideshow together here just to kind of give you an overall, look at our requests. So our revenue is right around that 11.7 and our, expenses are that 16.6. A difference of $4.9 million. Obviously, a big chunk of that is county construction and maintenance. That brings up a large majority of our expenses. So Dan was kind enough to put together a visual to try to explain our budget. So I didn't put in my slideshow the exact line for line broke out.
Mhm.
So what Dan tried to do is give you a visual of, so the small bubbles on the side, left-hand side, these are our revenue sources. So the one in green, what we will always call our 2600 fund. So we have a 2600 fund and we have a 7100 fund. 7100 fund is our entire highway budget. 2600 fund is just the county stuff. So as you can see, the small green bubble, our revenue sources is our vehicle registration fee, our state aid, levy, and others. Others means borrowed money, it could be come from the general fund, it could be
Donation.
beg, borrow, steal. As you can see, that's the number in highlighted in red is what we're looking at as a shortfall just to do the county 2600 maintenance construction, bridge construction, winter maintenance. So as you can see, that correlates with our expenses just to the right. That's the larger green bubble. $3.6 million is county maintenance, 6.4 is the county construction, 1.6 is county winter maintenance, and then 391,000 is the county bridge construction. And Dan did break out like the county maintenance in general.
This is just to show you.
Yep.
All of those are broken down. If you did provide that big long
Yep.
thing, so you can see those breakdowns.
So grand scheme of things. Can we cut our budget? Yes, we can cut our budget, but it's gonna come out of construction.
Right.
That's the only place we can cut.
Right.
We can reduce our county maintenance as well. I mean, instead of doing $700,000 worth of seal coating, maybe we did $400,000. We reduce everything. It actually, if we would cut construction, it might increase our county maintenance. So if we have labor and equipment that's allocated in construction, well, labor has to go somewhere. So just be aware of that. So, correct. It's one of those things is what I have shown here for the county construction is to do approximately 20 miles, it's like 18.53 miles of roadways. That is to try to get us on that 20 to 25 year lifespan of this road, of a road. Currently, we're doing approximately 10, 12, somewhere in that range. We're trying to get into that 20 to 25 year lifespan. So this is what it would cost to do that. And those are labor, equipment, and material costs, everything included. Administrative costs, all of it. So visually, I think this helps understand the big conglomeration of our budget. I like to say concentrate on that green. That's what affects us as a county. The stuff that's outside of that is work we do for the state, work we do for the town, work we do for other departments, whatever. Whatever it costs, that's what we get paid. So, I think Dan did a good job of, like I said, putting this as a visual. Like I said, in your packet, we can go line for line. If you really would really like to. But at the end of the day, these numbers are what's in here. I did present our county construction, kind of a breakout of how we came up with that number. And in your packet, I actually gave you the outdated one. Due to our County Road D allocation where the state gave us additional funds. So the number is higher than what on the spreadsheet that was, but
I think my numbers are off a little bit.
yeah.
After I saw your other one, it's about $110,000.
I noticed that too, but I didn't want to bring that up in the full detail, but you did.
Well, it was close.
You guys changed
It's,
that, right?
it's changing.
Well, it changes. It's,
The
So
concept is.
Just for, kind of bigger picture. So the, as we indicated in the committee meetings in June, it hasn't changed dramatically. Our hole between the ask and the, countywide, including highway, and what we have to fill it is about $7 million, between $6 and $7 million. So options for that would be, so we also know that based on our 2023 audit, we returned $2.7 million to the general fund in 2023. So if you recall, last year you passed a fund balance policy that basically says we'd have a plan to keep it at about 50%. We're currently at about 67, I think, or 68%. There's about $3.7 million in the general fund that could be spent down to get us to that 50% mark.
That still keeps us
At 50, yep. Obviously, there's a discussion, historic discussion about $3 million of borrowing. Our workers' compensation fund is very healthy, and so we're looking at doing what's called a premium holiday, basically meaning we're not gonna contribute to it in probably all or part for next year, which is about a $500,000 savings. We haven't received our state shared revenue numbers yet. They should be literally any day. The Department of Revenue will put those out, and so then we'll have a better idea about what that looks like. But you look at that roughly $6 to $7 million hole, and you look at what you have for fund balance. If you choose to borrow some workers' compensation and maybe a little tiny bit more of shared revenue, that's what we have to fill it with at this point.
And we get some lemonade stands set up and generate some funds.
Do you have any proposed spots yet, or?
right out here.
Yeah.
Sell brownies.
Yeah. We'll do tomorrow. Make sure you bring an umbrella.
Yeah.
And I don't know, at the risk of stepping a tiny bit outside, but I think anytime in a small group, we can talk about something, don't just talk about solar, geothermal, HVAC, just a little bit, because that's gonna come up.
Yeah.
So you gotta kind of
That's
know.
important to get brought up.
Yeah. Yeah, so we are looking at a I like to just call it a geothermal HVAC replacement project for the Judicial Center. So as you talk about all of our long-range planning and all of that, the Judicial Center was built in 91 and is still running its original HVAC system, which is still functional, but could die at any moment, and the costs become astronomical. So it's that same thing. You can start replacing little components of it, then it gets harder to replace the whole system. So we are bringing to facilities tonight a plan to replace the existing HVAC system in the Judicial Center in 2025. And with a geothermal system, which is actually going to use the geothermal wells that exist already at the government center. So to be able to tie those together, replace the entire HVAC system in that. And in addition to that, they're going to put up solar panels that will serve the Judicial Center, the Government Center, and the neighbors of Dunn County. The company we've been working with on this has there's a state program, they call it performance contracting, which ultimately says we're going to put these energy saving initiatives in order, the geothermal and the solar. And with the amount of savings you get annually, you'll be able to pay back your investment in 15 years. And that's a guarantee. So they will say, in year one, you're going to save $300,000 in your energy costs. If we only save $250,000, they will pay that 50 in order to make that true and essentially pay back that initial investment.
Who will pay that?
Whatever company that you end up
As long
contracting.
as they don't pay bank.
There's a lot of rules in the state, like they actually have to protect themselves from that particular thing happening. They have to be bonded in order to do that. But yeah, so they will guarantee those paybacks and over that 15-year cycle. So
What's the life expectancy
25 years.
for the solar panels?
The whole project is built for a 25 years with a 15-year payoff. So then you're actually just getting straight savings for those.
I'm not supposed to get too far into it, but just curious where the solar panel field would be located.
Back behind the government center is the initial thought, back behind the house.
But we're not talking a big area either. Are you telling me you need more? How big an area is not huge? So
I can dig into
No, you
to the size of it.
but I know
That's
that's
the
really
initial.
small.
But it's not like 40 acres.
No, no,
No,
I thought
It wouldn't be going out into the fields.
Okay,
no, it'd be
so it stayed in the lawn area or whatever behind the tower.
some of the thoughts are, some of those buildings we want to take down, kind of thinking about taking down, we may combine efforts on that. Those things haven't been done. What's been done right now is a company has done the work to identify that a 15-year payoff is a feasible project. In order to do this, then we have to do an RFP to, give everybody an opportunity to say, this is how we would do it, this is how we would do it. And so that's when we get into those final plans of this is where we're gonna put it.
And a part of it is a result of Inflation Reduction Act or
Yes.
bipartisan
Inflation.
Inflation Reduction Act, federal money or federal change that allows, so typically if you were a homeowner or a business owner and you installed energy savings solar, say, you would get a tax credit on your income taxes. They changed the law so that government, while we don't file a tax return, will file a separate kind of tax return to get back anywhere around a third, I believe.
$3.7 million is the projected amount of credit that we would get back for putting in this system. It's an $11 million, currently like $11 million.
Yeah, and we just have borrowed.
You have to borrow that. 3.7 would come back to us in within that first year as just straight rebates, whether that's the Inflation Reduction Act or the other one, Excel one that everybody gets. So,
Um,
but yeah,
So
So
for the
that'll
old,
come back.
like, geothermal,
Mhm.
how much money has Dunn County saved by just going that way? Without having to, spend more money for heating and air cooling?
so when you go to geothermal, obviously there's a little bit less in the cost of doing that.
Yeah.
You're not paying your natural gas bill essentially because you're not doing that, but it does ship to electric, right? Because it's, you gotta run those compressors to be able to do that. And so that's also where the solar kind of plays a role in that, is now your solar is essentially paying that heating bill in order to run those compressors. How much savings?
It's relatively significant. I mean, I don't know a dollar amount, but when you look at what we pay for the judicial center versus the government center, it's a pretty, there's a pretty big swing.
Numbers on that.
Yeah, we've got the
It's
numbers.
very secure.
Our natural gas
Can we
budget,
use the old, like, geothermal for the, judicial center without having to put brand new ones in all over?
yes, that is
Just the wells,
just the wells.
not the interior of the building.
No, because you're still gonna have to pipe it over.
Yep.
to get it all-
Yeah, they will have to
Okay.
pipe it over, but
Yeah,
yep, that's what the plan is.
So they planned ahead of time, or how did they? How's the capacity there?
Let's go with planned ahead of time.
Yeah, that's the answer. That's the answer everybody wants to hear. The wells are big enough to support.
Over
It's like-
constructed.
Aren't there 300? I think there's close to 300 wells out there.
Well, yeah,
Wow.
I remember drilling, like, holy crap, how
Yeah,
many
there's a
wells
lot
are
of
they gonna drill?
I don't know the motivation, but it is oversized.
Which is okay.
So sort of simplistically stated, and again, the board will make decisions about all of this. The proposal would be to borrow $11 million, use the energy savings each year, guaranteed energy savings, but pay on that debt. So it wouldn't result in a levy, any additional amount being levied to the public. We would, a company that we work with would help us to claim the energy tax credits. And we would receive that money back, fairly quickly. And then 15 years from now, when the whole project was paid off, for the next however long that all lasted, it's pure savings.
So do they guarantee the solar panels for 25 years? They just say that they last that long.
They say that they last that long. I think their guarantee part of it would be 15 because they're on the hook if they're not producing what they're supposed to, but.
And they might last 30.
I guess one, just a heads up as a potential question that I might ask is thinking down the road, keep the system working, what would the cost be to replace those panels, solar panels? That might be a good thing to know.
30 years, we don't know. That's. It'd be
What?
hard to figure out what 30 years.
No, I know, but you could just, even if it was like at today's cost, this is what it would be.
Yep.
Now, and then if you wanna say, I'm gonna,
But remember, we're not, even if we decided 25 or 30 years from now to get out of the solar business, all the I mean, nothing changes. We
Yeah, no,
still have an
yeah,
HVAC system
yeah,
that we
yeah,
have to run. So.
yeah, no doubt. I get all that. It's just, people are.
Yep.
There's people that are still like, this solar
most
thing is cool and everything, and we get it, the efficiency of it, but at the same time, it's like, what's the cost gonna be to replace it? Are we really getting where we want to get?
Yep,
That's-
and the other piece I don't want you to lose sight of collectively as the board is just that we have to do something with the HVAC system at the judicial center. We have kicked that can 2 years down the road from, at least 2. Because we had budgeted in our capital improvement plan to do, air exchanger, heat
Controls.
pumps, or whatever,
We
something.
budgeted for controls, which is a component of that.
Yeah.
Which ultimately, if you replace the system, you're also gonna replace the controls. So it's one of those things, if you invest in those controls. And then a year later, the boiler goes out. You're gonna stick with a boiler type system because you've now done this. So I mean, you have to very similar to the conversation about consolidating highway shops, like
Absolutely.
before you start putting
Yeah,
little
it wasn't-
pieces into there, you have to decide what your long-term plan is.
Especially being as wells can handle it, makes it a lot more palatable for me to swallow.
The geothermal in and of itself wouldn't pay for itself. Like, it's only the combined with the solar that allows us to get to the cost savings, right?
They give it a 24-year pay for itself.
Yeah.
So it doesn't meet the 15 years is there's a state statute that allows for this type of borrowing and doing all of that, and that's all based on 15 years.
So how long is it gonna take to pay for cost savings for the judicial center? No, or not the judicial center, but, where we have the meetings, the old.
Government
Government
center.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's good.
So like, obviously they overdid the wells or whatever, like how long did they expect that to pay for itself?
I don't know. I think that was done in like 2012 or 2011. Part of the, or was it
Part of
2013?
the
13,
remodel.
part of the, yeah,
Part
it's
of
the
the
beginning part of the remodel, because that was a complete HVAC system replacement, so.
Yep.
So they're looking at, I mean, really that 20 to 25 years. Type,
But I mean, what was the reason to go with geothermal? Like,
because it is cheaper, cheaper to run. It certainly shifts your costs from gas to electric.
oh, I
'Cause
understand, but you're drilling 300 wells and they weren't small wells. All right, there's quite a cost to that.
Yeah.
And what I was wondering what the payoff on that was. You just keep saying we already have the wells. And if we wouldn't even pay for it in 15 years, not even just putting a pipe in to go over there and obviously the pumps and all that stuff, but without having the solar to run those pumps, it's still gonna take 15 years to pay for. So I'm just thinking, okay, well, that original system must be 30-year payoff or something to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you don't know the number, you don't know.
I don't know if they looked at it as being a payoff so much as cheaper than
Okay,
than a traditional boiler type
In the
system.
boiler, they pulled all the boilers out in a remodel. So, because they were ancient.
Yep.
So
So
it might have been a cost comparison between the two at that point in time.
Is there any kind of, question of the highway department needed new money and then also over there at the Future Center needed new money? Is it,
Absolutely,
That's
that's
why-
why we're bringing it up to you now, is as you're considering the budget as a whole,
yeah,
what the highway department needs, again, facilities and I will look at like kind of countywide. But I wanna plant the seed for you to think about and be able to ask questions about the 11 million, which I'm not, we shouldn't talk about 11 million like it's not a huge amount of money, because it's a huge amount of money. But is essentially a way to pay for the HVAC system at the judicial center without incurring additional levy. Debt, yes, but debt that's gonna pay for itself.
that's where, as you look at facilities, by our ordinance, facilities is responsible for all county facilities except for highways. So that's where you really have to kind of look at these two committees, as you're gonna look at facilities in general, where you all kind of have to be on the same page. So it's nice to have one person on both committees.
All right, sounds good. I don't think we ever did do the 7B. We need a motion and second on that.
Yeah, if you don't want to approve it.
Need a motion and a second is what I'm trying to say. 7B highway budget request. What's a request?
Second.
Been made second to approve the budget request. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
I,
8, consideration of resolutions and ordinance recommended by the county board, 2024 budget adjustment, local small structure inventory.
Yeah, so, we received additional state funds for, um, I don't remember what we did.
Small structure.
Oh, yeah, so the inventory of our, structures under 20, the 6 to 20 foot.
Yeah.
So we submitted a invoice for that work, to the DOT and already received a check for it, so that was the amount for $20,500.
Motion, send that on, or just, yeah, good. Oh,
Make that motion. Or send that on.
second it. Any other discussion? Not, Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Any other questions? Any other discussion? If not, meeting adjourned.
It's not bad.
Next meeting, September 11th, 2024. Thank you.